Hello and welcome. This is the course on stochastic modeling and theory of queues. This lecture we will be looking into a particular aspect of the renewal process. This process is called as the semi-Markov process. It inherits certain properties of the continuous time Markov chain, but it is in one way a generalization of the CTMC. Just recall that a continuous time Markov chain has to obey two properties. One, because it is a chain, it has a finite number of states, and the state transition rates, the rate at which it goes from one state to another state, should only depend upon the initial state and the final state of the transition. That is, from which state it goes to which state. Suppose if I and j are two states in the state space of the Markov chain, Pij denotes the Rij, or more generally denotes the rate at which the process goes from state I to state j, and it should only depend upon I and j and not on the history of the process, or it will not depend upon which states are visited prior to coming to state I. So this is one condition that is important. Another condition is that the time in which it resides in I before making a transition to another state, say j, has to be exponentially distributed. The reason is, if you look at the process at an arbitrary time t and find it to be in state I, then the probability that you will find the system to be in state j obviously depends upon the rate of the state transition from I to j, that is Aij, and not on any other states that are being visited to it. It also should be independent of how long it has been residing in state I. For that, exponential dwell time is very important. If the dwell time is exponentially distributed, then independent of how much time the process has spent in state I, the residual time it spends in state I before switching to a state j is independent of the time already being spent in state I. So this memoryless property is very important for the Markovian property to be obeyed by the CTMC, which is given that the present state is, or the most recent state information is given, the statistics of the future evolutions are independent of the past. So a CTMC has to obey both these properties. Now we will try to generalize the CTMC. A way of generalization is to make the dwell time of the states to be generally distributed, to have a generic probability distribution, instead of forcing it to have to be an exponential distribution. That is one way in which we can generalize. However, we still retain the condition that the state transition rates depends only upon the two states between the transitions and not on the history of the states being visited. If you do so, then the process is not Markovian, and therefore it is not CTMC, but in one sense it is a generalization, in the sense that the dwell time is now has a generic distribution. If it happens to be exponential, then it will become CTMC, but it can in general have any distribution. Then such processes are called as the semi-Markov process. So a way in which we can analyze the semi-Markov process or come to the characterization of the semi-Markov process is as follows. Let us consider a process that has a number of states, say 1 to n, and then it spends 1 unit of time in each state and then makes a transition to another state at the end of that time unit. So from 1 it goes to 2, 2 to 3 and so on all the way up to n and then comes back to 1. So in this case there is nothing that is random in it. So the dwell times are deterministic, and in addition the transitions that happens is also deterministic because it goes from 1 to 2, 2 to 3 and so on. There are n states. So at an arbitrary time, if you look at the system, then it is equally likely to be in any one of those n states. So the probability mass function, if you try to arrive it, although it is a deterministic one, if you still want to define, the only thing that is random is the time at which you observe the process, is just 1 over n. It is uniformly distributed between 1 to n. So both the dwell time is deterministic and the transitions are also deterministic. Now let us slightly generalize. We will assume that the dwell time of the states are random. Again, instead of looking at the distribution, we only demand that the average time it spends in a given state once visited is given to us. Let us say the ith state dwell time is denoted as mu I. So mu1, mu2, mu3 up to mu n are the dwell time of the states 1 to n. But the transitions remain still deterministic. In the sense it goes from 1 to 2, 2 to 3, all the way up to n and then comes back to 1. Now if you ask the question that if you observe the process at an arbitrary time, what is the probability that it will be found in state I? Then we can easily generalize and then tell it spends mu I time in state I. It spends on the average mu1 in state 1 and so on. So the average time it spends in one cycle. By cycle we make the time taken for the process to start from a given state and come back to the same state. If you take 1 at the starting state, from the time it enters 1 till it comes back to 1, that is what we call as the cycle duration, and its average value is mu1 plus mu2 all the way to mu n. In one cycle it spends mu I time on the average in ith state. So therefore the pi, the probability that the system will be found in state I, will be mu I by mu1 plus mu2 to mu n. So this is an easy way of generalization. Now let us generalize furthermore and then tell that state transitions are not deterministic, they are random. That is, from a given state it can go to any one of the state other than the state. Once it leaves the state, of course it cannot, there is no meaning of coming back to it because we only talk about the state transition. Once it leaves the state, it has to go to one among the remaining state, and the probability that it goes from state I to state j is fixed, it is given, and it is independent of the history of the states being visited. Okay. So this is a way in which you can generalize. So Pij is the probability that it goes from state I to state j when it leaves I. And this is what we defined to be the characteristics of a semi-Markov process. And now for this process, how do we analyze it? First and foremost, in the case of the Markov chain, continuous time Markov chain, each state is visited for a unit and then makes a transition. Sorry, in a continuous time Markov chain, it spends in each state a random amount of time, but it is exponentially distributed. Okay. So here what happens is that if you only consider the transitions between the different states, and then assuming the time it spends in each time, okay, to be of some unit, okay, some duration, which we will at present, if we don't worry about it, then the probability that it can be found, if you initially assume that it is all fixed time unit in each state once visited, then the probability that it will remain in a given state can be easily found out by solving the Markov chain for a stationary distribution. So let pi 1, pi 2 be the stationary probabilities of this Markov chain. Then if this Markov chain is aperiodic and irreducible, we know a limiting probability distribution exists, and the stationary probabilities can be, which is the limiting probability, can be arrived at. The way to solve for it is through the two equations. One, the probability distribution has to be normalized, that is sigma I varying from 1 to capital N pi I should be equal to 1. And another thing is we have to solve for the vector matrix equation pi equal to pi p. So in terms of element wise equation, pi I is sigma j varying from 1 to n pi j p j I. So the only way it can come to I is to occupy a state j and then make a transition from j to I. The j can be one among any one of those n states. So if you solve for these two, solve for this set of n plus 1 equation, then we can arrive at pi's. So pi I basically denotes the fraction of transitions that lead to state I. That is how we have to interpret I. The time it spends in I is decided by the dwell time distribution. But now how do we interpret the pi i's? It is not the probability that a system will be found in state I. That is not how pi I can be interpreted, because the dwell time of different states may be different and each being governed by its own probability distribution. But these pi i's now denote the fraction of the transitions that lead to state I. So once we know this one, once pi I is the fraction of the transition that leads to state I, once it visits state I, it will spend mu I time unit on the average in state I. So the fraction of the time it will spend in state I is pi I mu I. Considering the whole time weighted, this is the weightage that you have to assign for state I while finding the probability that state I will be occupied at an arbitrary time. So to normalize it, we have to add up all such quantities pi I mu I over I varying from 1 to n. So Pi, the state occupancy probabilities of a semi-Markov process, is given by pi I mu I divided by sigma j varying from 1 to n pi j mu j for I 1 to n. Now, so we will look at an example of the semi-Markov process. Let us consider a machine which can be in 3 given states: a good state, a fair state, and a broken state, or a repaired state. And then it makes transition between these states. So Again, the time once it enters the state, it remains in that state from a random amount of time which has a generic distribution, but the only quantity that we require to find out the state occupancy probabilities in long term, those are only the average time, average dwell time. Let us designate state, good state to be 1, fair state to be 2, broken state to be state 3, and let mu1 denotes the average time it resides in state 1, mu2 for state 2, mu3 for state 3. Then when it is in a good state, it will then either go to the fair condition or the broken condition with a probability 3/4 and 1/4 respectively. A machine which is in the fair condition will always go to the broken state only, but only after spending a mean time of mu2. A broken machine can be repaired. So once it becomes repaired, immediately we employ a repairman to repair it. Once the machine is repaired, it can go to a good state or a fair state. It goes to a good condition with a probability 2/3 and a fair state with a probability 1/3. And the average time it takes to repair the machine is mu3. Then it becomes clear that the dwell times have a generic distribution. It is not exponential, so we cannot treat it as a CTMC. But the probability that it will go from one state to another state doesn't depend upon the history of the states visited, and therefore putting these two conditions together, we find that this is a case of a semi-Markov process. So we first solve for the pi1, pi2, pi3, which now only designate the fraction of the transition that leads to 1, 2 and 3. So first pi1 plus pi2 plus pi3 is equal to 1 for the normalization, because it is the fraction of the states transition that belongs to 1. There are only 3 states, so they should add up to 1. Then we can see that if it is in a broken state, it comes to the good state with a probability 2/3. So the only way we can come to the good state is after getting repaired in the long run. So pi1 is given by 2/3 pi3. How can you get into the fair state? A machine that is in a good state can come to the fair state pi1. Pi2 is the fair state, 2 is the fair state, and pi2 is the probability with the fraction of the transition leading to pi2. You can be in good state and with a probability of 3/4 you can get into the fair condition, or you can be in repair condition and with a probability of 1/3 it can come into the fair one. So pi2 is equal to 3/4 pi1 plus 1/3 pi3. And the repair condition, if you are in the fair state, at the end of the fair state you always come to pi3. That is what pi2, that is the fair one. From good state also you can come with a probability 1/4 into the repair condition. So pi3 is 1/4 pi1 plus pi2. So you can solve these equations and you can arrive at pi1, pi2, pi3. It can be found to be 1/15, 1/3, 2/3. We will write it as, keep the denominator the same for all these pi1, pi2, pi3. So then it will be 4/15, 5/15 and 6/15. You can see that it adds up to 1. Now the proportion of the time the machine spends in state I is given by pi I mu I divided by sigma pi I mu I. So P1 is nothing but 4 by 15 times mu1 divided by 4 by 15 mu1 plus 5 by 15 mu2 plus 6 by 15 mu3. Multiplying by 15 on both denominator and numerator, you will get 4 mu1 by 4 mu1 plus 5 mu2 plus 6 mu3. Similarly, P2 is 5 mu2 divided by this denominator. P3 is 6 mu3 divided by the same denominator. Now let us take, for the sake of arguments, that mu1, mu2, mu3 are given to be 5, 2 and 1. If we substitute these values here, you can get P1, P2, P3, and for these values we can arrive at the values to be 5 by 9 and so on. So this is how the semi-Markov process can be analyzed, and obviously this can be used as a model for a wide variety of system. Thank you.